And some people think this is bad, these tiny little cameras, you know, the government is watching us, but the reason to have heart about that is that we can watch the government too. And it makes me think back to, it's been actually 30 years ago. Remember Rodney King? And when he was beaten by police in Los Angeles, and a guy named Bob Holliday was up on the top floor of a building filming this event, and the police certainly couldn't deny what they had done. And now, of course, everybody has the capability, just about everybody, to watch the government and keep them honest as well. There's new hope for magazines, papers, books, but of course the disintermediation is going to happen. The models have to change. The peer review process, we were talking about this at dinner last night. In Connecticut, where I live, there's a researcher at the University of Connecticut who's been writing a lot and doing a lot of research about red wine. And the report says that red wine is good for you. We all know that. But it turns out that this research was bad. It was fraudulent research. Yet it was published in a peer-reviewed journal, a distinguished journal. And if you look at the record, you'll find there's a lot of fraudulent studies. Some of them have resulted actually in tremendous agony for cancer patients who were led to believe that a certain chemotherapy might give them some hope, and it actually made things worse. And it was based on research done in Australia that was published, I believe, in Lancet, which is one of the best, most renowned journals, and it was peer-reviewed. So what is a peer? Who are our peers? Is it a very short list of people that were selected by some process that we don't understand, and we don't really know who's getting paid for what, to say what or do what, or what their alignment might be, or what effect their published research may have on their ability to get promoted in what they're doing in their career? I don't really know how all that works. Maybe some of you do. But it seems to me there could be another way to do it. It seems to me that the power of the web and the social media could potentially allow, with reputation monitoring and digital IDs to certify that people are who they say they are and that their record is what it's said to be, that peer review maybe could encompass more than a few people that are known to only a few people. So I think we're going to see a lot of changes in that regard, and of course in the healthcare records. Let's go to the next to the last one is intelligent. So we have all this data, big data. What are we going to do with it? And the answer is analytics and supercomputers and business intelligence, looking into these mountains of data and discovering things that have been there but have been hidden. One of the early examples of this was at Walmart, which, as you know, is the master of data in the retail physical world, at least. And they discovered that on Friday afternoons when men buy beer, they also buy diapers. So what did they do? They put the beer by the diapers. So, you know, it's insight that comes from data. Now think about healthcare. Think about Watson on Jeopardy. Well, that was interesting to see a computer win at Jeopardy, but what's more interesting is if a primary care physician could call Watson and say, I have a patient here in my office, 45 years old, that has this symptom and that symptom, is taking this medication, has this particular history. What do you think? And within 2 seconds, Watson examines and evaluates and compares all the medical information ever collected everywhere in the world, all the medical information, and finds a relevant answer back to that primary care physician. Does that sound like science fiction? This is underway right now. And then we have the rise and the fall of apps. I called it the fall and the rise for a reason. We used to have web applications. Once we got encryption going, we were able to create e-commerce, and then applications began to be created. Many of them, billions of them. And they're kind of nice, they're great, but they don't quite have the look and feel of a desktop application. And this is why when the iPhone came along with an app, we don't call them applications anymore, an app, there was something different about it. It was molded to the device. It was so natural, responsive. You knew how to use it. It was intuitive. It wasn't a web page. Now, it was connected to the web, of course, because that's where all the data is, but it's a different kind of a thing, the app. Well, now, this pendulum has gone back the other way to web apps. What's going to make that possible? HTML5, the only technical term I will use. HTML5 is going to change the world because for the first time, it has a credible way to have something that works the same on all devices. Now, Java tried to do that, but it was too far down into the nitty-gritty of all these different devices, and it was a promise that was never able to be fulfilled. HTML5 is at the top of the stack. It's not down into the operating systems and all that. It's up at the top. It's at our level, user level. And HTML5 will allow the creation of an app that looks and feels like a desktop app, and it's exactly the same on an Android, on an iPhone, on an iPad, on an iMac, on a PC, on anything. This is going to be dramatic, and I believe over the next few years, all the apps will be HTML5, because if you're not HTML5, you're not going to be competitive with whoever else offers what you do. Next to the last, easy. Is it ever going to get easy? Well, probably not. The technology is evolving so rapidly, there's always something new, and it really does take a lot of time to keep up with what's going on. But there's some hope for things to be a little bit easier. Standards are a big part of this. One of the things I'm most excited about right now is open social. If you haven't looked at Open Social, I urge you to do so. Open Social is a standard being promulgated that will allow the creation of social media apps that work across all the social media. Just imagine if you could take a survey among patients, for example, or anybody. They ask them how they like the customer service they've received, and you create an app that sends out this poll question, and it goes into Facebook, it goes into all the tweets, it goes into Delicious and Dig and all the social media, and comes back and can be consolidated through this app. So Open Social, keep your eyes on that. Tablets, we know, is changing the game here, making it easier. The fact that you can take an iPad out of the box, turn it on, and you don't have to hook it up to anything to be able to activate it is a real breakthrough when you think about it, because that's what's held a lot of people back. Oh, well, I got to get iTunes, and I got to get this white cable and plug it in, and, you know. iCloud is, we've just seen the tip of the iceberg of what iCloud is going to make possible, and of course, Dropbox is, in a way,